Hi, I'm Andrew Trendle. You're watching In Conversation with NME, and we're here today with Noel Gallagher.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good.
Good.
How are you?
I'm all right, yeah. Nothing more, nothing less.
How was your weekend? Did you do any coronation celebrations?
No, I didn't see a single second of it, no. It's a busy weekend for football.
You didn't get invited to the coronation?
I did get invited, yeah.
Oh, you did?
I did, yeah. I was supposed to perform at it, yeah.
Have you met Charles?
No, how the fuck would I meet
I don't know.
How would I meet Prince Charles, or King Charles, whatever he's calling himself these days? No, I've never met a royal. Morrissey.
He counts.
He counts as a royal, I suppose, and Ian McCulloch, he's royalty.
Yeah.
No, I've never met a royal.
Do you foresee ever getting offered any honours?
I wouldn't have thought so. I'd have thought if I get the gong, you can pretty much say they've been devalued. Yeah, I wouldn't mind being the Duke of Manchester if there's any of that shit knocking about. That'd be good. I went to a party last year at some fucking posh gaff on New Year's Eve, and it was at Stately Home. Yeah. And the guy who Stately Home said, where do I recognise you from? And I was like, I'm the Duke of Manchester. And he said, really? There's a Duke of Manchester? And I went, here I am. And his wife said, he fucking wrote Wonderwall, you idiot. And he was like, oh, that's where I know you from, yes. But yeah, if anyone's giving that, I like that Duke's hat with the feathers on. Yeah. I won't mind that. Duke of Manchester, yeah. So if anyone's watching from Chaz, the Duke, yeah, I'd like it. I don't think the Manchester's ever had a Duke, and I'd be a good one. Yeah.
Does that give you the right to make?
What would it give me the right to do?
Johnny Marr.
Oh, right. Without question, Johnny Marr's being fucking elevated alongside me. He'd be like the Duke of Manchester as well. We were the Dukes of Manchester. Write that down. That's a fucking premise for a TV series. That.
Yeah, yeah. Probably give you the right to
two Mancunians driving around Manchester solving local crime in a fucking Greg's bakery, man.
Well, it probably gives you the right to ride a horse through the train station or something.
I do that anyway from time to time. Yeah.
Thanks for having us down at Lone Star Studios in London.
No problem. Yeah.
Very nice.
It's all right. It'll do. Yeah. Yeah. It's not. You're not seeing it in its full glory today because we're rehearsing over the road, so most of the gears across in a place called FOMO over the road. But yeah, no, it's a great studio. Yeah.
I like the little touches, the little mementos.
Well, yeah, this is all junk I've had around my house for years, and I mean, I was always the intention to get a studio. I mean, all the equipment here is mine. I've had it for years and years and years, and I've been collecting it. The studio equipment. Yeah, this has all been in lockups for years. I would buy shit when I'm on the road, like, oh, that's from this fictitious studio I'm going to get. And then I eventually found this place, or built this place, should I say? And yeah, the little, yeah, I don't know what you would call them, but tiny little things. There's some, yeah, shit I get from fans.
This is good.
This is ludicrous, as you can see.
Is it all Noel's inside? Or is it the other high-flying birds?
It is from different eras, yeah. I mean, and it makes the fucking most god-awful noise when you open it. And I can't even open it.
I remember that.
That's
my nan
fucking
had one
wrong.
Not one of these. But I'm guessing this is the only one of these.
There, look how happy I am there.
Yep.
Yeah, look at that. I'm very happy in that one. Yeah. Oh, trust me when you've got an hangover. Yeah, I don't know who that fucker is, but yeah.
You had to hide him in the middle.
Yeah.
And then you just get younger as you go down.
Yeah, and I do believe. No, that's it. There is a little one, but I think he went out for a walk and never came back. The other fella. So. But like obviously a Russian fan turned up at the sort of gig once in Moscow with that, and said, "Yeah, this is so annoying. Honestly, that's wrong as fuck."
Sample that.
But yeah. But yeah, it's not a bad bit of kit.
Any other personal favourite keepsakes? Pep out there.
The life-size cutout of Pep Guardiola would be a personal favourite. He's coming on tour though, just to oversee the tactical plan. Sure there's a picture of me and Vinny and Bernardo Silva there when we won the Premier League, one of our many Premier League triumphs away at Brighton a few years back. Yeah, bits and bobs. Yeah, it's all good.
Well, it's good. It's good practice for did you go to the David Bowie exhibition, I suppose?
Oh, yeah, that was quite a few years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
there was one amazing thing in it, which was his legal letter that he sent his lawyer changing his name from David Jones to David Bowie, which was amazing. But yeah, there was a spate of those exhibitions, wasn't there? The Pink Floyd one was was great, and then there was the Bowie one. I'm amazed there's not been a Led Zeppelin one, unless of course there has been one.
Maybe.
And why hasn't there been a Beatles one?
That's mad.
There's even been an Oasis one.
They do everything, don't they?
Which I never went to.
But a Noel one would look a little something like this.
An exhibition of my own stuff. That's not for me, mate. No. They can do that when I'm dead.
But did having this studio and its very homely vibe, do you think that bled into this record?
Yeah, of course, yeah. When I built this first, it did not look like this. It looked like a run-of-the-mill studio. It was navy and fucking grey carpet, and it was built during lockdown. And yeah, when it was finished, I would come here during lockdown, and I just remember sitting in here one day. It's before we'd started, but the shell of it was all built, and I fucking hated it. It just looked like any other recording studio, and I was like, I'm not gonna enjoy being here. So with my thousands of hours experience in studios, they have to be a nice place to be. And if it's a nice place to be, then you're going to want to be there, and you're capturing magic. Then I got, then I did all the colours and started buying shit and making it a bit more. I don't know why I started to buy trees, I don't know. Yeah, it just looked like a run-of-the-mill studio, and I hated it. But did it bleed into the record? Well, the record doesn't sound like these colours look, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
The record has got quite a dark. What are we right in saying that? I don't know. But it's certainly. I mean, I wrote a lot of it here and mixed it here, and obviously recorded it here. So, I mean, this studio sounds fucking great. So it's the first time I've ever written, recorded, and mixed a thing in the same place. So yeah, it's a total product of the studio. So I'm very pleased with it.
Yeah. We've spoken about how Council Skies, by the way, great album.
Have you heard it now?
Yeah. You've spoken a lot how about it's an album that deals a lot with going back to your childhood and the reality that surrounded you, and then turned into music for the escapism.
Well, that was slightly misinterpreted by a journalist. I mean, it's not like you lot to do that, of course. The track Council Skies.
Yeah.
I was talking about a song, and the guy thought I was talking about an album. The song, yeah, that took many twists and turns before I asked Pete, could I use the title, Pete McKee, that is, and then I kind of reworked the song a little bit. So yeah, that's about trying to find young love on a council estate, something of which I can speak with fairly heavy authority. But the album, you'd have to take it on a track by track basis, really. I guess if there's one overriding word I would use to describe it, is reflective. You know, all the dreams that I had growing up, I suppose, were underneath the council skies, and that sparked off a lot of things for me. But it was written in that god-awful time in lockdown, you know, in isolation, that first 9-10 months a year, whatever it was. Because there was nothing to do or nowhere to go, or no one to see, and I was out of town, out in the country, which had its benefits. It didn't really feel like there was a pandemic because it was in the middle of nowhere anyway. Yeah. So you didn't really get that a city had come to its standstill and was on life support. Yeah, and everybody dealt with it personally, differently, and yeah, I guess that kind of came into my own personal life, which is like, how have I got here? You know what I mean? So I'd say it's reflective more than kind of about any specific thing about childhood or anything.
Yeah, you can be reflective about being nostalgic.
Well, I don't, not nostalgia, I hate nostalgia, to be honest. I don't like steering people towards any or down an avenue of how they should listen to a record. It's up to them. I never liked when I was growing up, people would say this record is about this or that, because you'd be like, oh, I'm fucking not asked if it's about your mum. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people can take from it what they will, but it does flow as an album, which is a rarity. It'd be nice if people listen to it as an album. I think like proper fans will. Yeah. But you can't, download separate tracks if you have to be a cunt,
So you talked about listening to it as a full album. I really love the 3 EPs in between the last record and now. Were they more about kind of striking out and doing the kind of cosmic pop thing and a bit more experimenting with this record eventually at the end of the road?
Well, that was coming off the back of Who Built the Moon. I was in that headspace of going into the studio with nothing and seeing what happened. And David Holmes unlocked that particular door for me, and it was fucking great. We were on tour and just had the idea of, like, you know, when we were on the festival circuit, so you do festivals at weekends and have all week off. So I was just coming back and going into the studio and seeing what happened. You know, some people were saying, fucking hell, that's like you've given away you know, an album's worth of material. I was like, but it's not really a coherent album, you know what I mean? It's just a place that I was in creatively. It's a bit off slightly more than I could chew. My management and label were saying, why don't you just do one EP? And I was like, no, fuck, I'll do 3, you know. And not realising at the time that, you know, I was thinking, well, you know, EPs are 4 tracks, and it was like a lot of fucking music to come up with, which is why there's a few little things on there that ordinarily I wouldn't put on there, like Come On, It's All Right and Sail On, and I would have kept those back. But I was trying to push myself, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And the band. But yeah, but this album was, I mean, maybe if I hadn't have been isolated at home for all that time, maybe I'd have carried on with David. We always spoke we were going to do another record, and then, you know, that the lockdown thing happened, and we went off and did something else, and I just started writing at home.
Yeah. Well, it's a cracking album. A lot of variety on there. So
it's a cracking album, Gromit. Cracking.
I'm going to treat you to some of my notes now.
Okay.
I quite like this. Got quite a good all-encompassing sound. 2 highlights for me. Love Is a Rich Man's got quite a widescreen classic vibe. Then straight off the back of that, Think of a Number. That's got like a kind of ashes to ashes, Kraftwerky thing going on.
Yeah.
How would you describe the kind of sonic palette you were dipping in?
Well, I take each song as it comes, do you know what I mean? There's like when Pretty Boy was the first thing that was finished.
Yeah.
It was the first thing that was written. So when I played it to people, they were, and even fans when it came out, they were all going, there's a drum machine on it again, you know. And it's a bit of an anomaly on the record. There's nothing like it on the record. So it was just whatever the songs were, but Think of a Number, yeah, it's got a Bowie feel to it. If I had my time again, I would have had that as the opening track on the album. I've kind of, yeah, that's. I mean, every album that I make anyway tends to be flawed in some way, and this is almost perfect. But that's the biggest flaw. Is the opening track, I'm Not Giving Up Tonight, should be the closing track, and Think of a Number should be the opening track. But I didn't think of a Number was strong enough until it was too late. You know, and yeah, what a dick, but there you go. I'm allowed to be a dick when it's my own music, so. But yeah, so it depends. It depends on what, I mean, I've always worked that way. If I have a song and it sounds like, or if you play it, or if we just demo it in here, and I don't apart from that period in the 3, when I was doing the 3 EPs thing where it was just, you were just blasting through it and it was all inspiration and then you were getting it out. Ordinarily, I'll have a song and I'll demo it and it'll just be an acoustic demo, and then I'll take it home and listen to it for a couple of weeks and think, right, what is this song and what does it sound like and what do I want it to sound like? And I'll aim for it. I'll unashamedly go, well, if it sounds a bit like T-Rex, I'll make it sound fucking more like T-Rex than T-Rex. And then dial it back a little bit so as not to infringe anybody's copyright. And Love Is a Rich Man, to me, sound quite Bowie-esque, I think. You know, when I've written a lot of fucking songs. It's just a fun thing to do. It's kind of, it's just a fun thing to do. And I'm really lucky to have so many great musicians that, you know, I can say to them, could you play guitar like Robert Fripp? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, you fucking better learn. So yeah, well, yeah, just take each song as it comes, you know. Don't really have an overall thing. High Flying Birds is not like that. Oasis was like that. It was an overall kind of sound. Everybody had their own set role in the band, and you had to, you went and done your thing. But with this, it's a little bit different.
Yeah. You talked about flaws on previous records. Any in particular that keep you awake at night, or? Well,
I don't like the sound of Morning Glory at all. At all. I think the only album that is perfect would be Definitely Maybe than what I've done. Be Here Now, the songs, All in Glory, I fucking hate the sound of that record. It's all... And let's go through them. Be Here Now, songs are too long. What's one after that? Stand on the Shoulder Giants, not enough good songs. A lot of filler on that. What was after that? Heathen Chemistry? Yeah, Heathen Chemistry. A couple of good tunes, Stop Crying Your Heart Out, and Little by Little. The rest of it's a bit... Yeah. What was after that? Don't Believe the Truth's pretty good. Dig Out Your Soul kind of tails off towards the end. So they're all flawed in some way. My solo records, the first one, Stop the Clocks. No chance, not having that. Second one, the Mexican, dreadful. Who Built the Moon? Yeah, maybe, sonically it could do with a bit more work.
Yeah.
But then there's great moments in them all, but and this one, the fucking track listing is slightly skewed, but I mean they're all, that's just what they are, you know what I mean? They're not perfect by any means. And anyway, if you ever did make these fucking most perfect album and you accepted it was perfect, it's over. What's the point after that?
Well, do you ever fancy doing a Taylor Swift and going back and re-recording anything?
Do I own the masters to mine?
I don't know. Answers on a postcard.
But
if you got the chance to go back and...
Sure, she owns the songs, though. She writes her own songs, doesn't she? Does she?
She writes her own songs, yeah.
Oh, then she owns them, right?
My legal understanding around this is quite limited, but I think
be better than mine, trust me.
My understanding is someone else owned the actual recordings and the masters.
Yeah, but that's just record companies own the recordings, don't they? Because they paid for them, and they borrowed you the money to pay for them, and then fucking did. I mean, it is a bit of a racket at the end of the day. It's why I don't have a record deal. It's kind of when you get into that and you just go, well, hang on a minute. I paid that money back.
Yeah.
That you borrowed me to make that record. But we still own it because you signed that fucking deal. So it's a bit of a racket. But would I go and re-record? What's the point? What's the point? Could you imagine the outrage? No, I'd rather push on and try new things. No, I'm not interested in re-recording shit.
You talked about Pretty Boy there with Johnny Marr. We know you guys are close friends, but what would you say he brings to the table? What happens when you guys sit down to write a song?
Well, sadly, we've never sat down to write a song. We've talked about it for a while. And what does he bring? So I'll have... So the 3 tracks that he plays on, I'll have the idea that Johnny will be able to do something great on that. I can just hear it. I can't hear what he's going to play, but I know he will. With Pretty Boy, because when it's so linear and it gets to that thing and it's kind of it just motors along and that's it. I knew it needed something, and to be honest, I didn't get anybody to try it. I didn't get loads of people to try it and then do the call Johnny. I was going to ask him to do it from the off, and I just knew. And it's a funny thing with Johnny because he doesn't get you to send him the track, so he turns up and he plugs his gear in and he goes in there and then he puts his guitar and he stands in front of the speakers and he says, right, let's hear it, and that's it. And as he's hearing it for the first time, he's playing, and this has happened most of the time when I'm with. I'll never tell him what to play. I wouldn't be so fucking cheeky as to say, could you do, can you do it like this?
Not until you're the Duke.
Yeah, but he's the GOAT.
Oh, there you go.
I don't usually sit in the room there with him. That'd annoy me if I was a guitarist or somebody. So I'm usually in here, but with the doors open, so I've got an half an ear on what he's doing. When he hit that riff, we both shouted, thinking, that's it! And then he'll just focus in on something and make it fucking brilliant. He elevates my songs, and sometimes it's really subtle, and sometimes it's really great. But no matter what he does, he elevates it for me, And I'm so privileged to have his to have his phone number. I say to him, if you keep picking up the phone, I'm going to keep calling you.
Yeah.
And but he's into it. He's fucking great. I love him.
And that banging remix from Robert Smith as well.
Well, yeah. So one night, one evening, we were sat here, and of course, as your album is coming to an end, the people that run my label are desperate for content. What have we got? Have we got any out of this? Outtakes, blah blah blah. I was like, because it sounds like The Cure, and I was like, why does Robert Smith do remixes? And it's just, in the music business, you're never more than 2 steps away from somebody. You know, everybody knows someone that knows someone who knows the guy. I got hold of his email, and I genuinely thought when I emailed him that he'd look. The first, hi Robert, it's Noel Gallagher. And I thought at that point he'd go, fuck that cunt. Anyway, he emailed back, and he's like, send me the track, and I sent it to him. Well, fuck me, if I thought it sounded like The Cure when it went, it certainly did when it came back. But it wasn't until I played it a few people, and they were like, oh man, imagine that, and he's playing guitar on it. It's like, that's you, it's one of Oasis, one of the Smiths, and one of The Cure on the same fucking track. And I was like, man, that's far out. You couldn't even fucking, it's like, what a mad idea. And it was great, you know, and he's, I'd never met him, and I've been such an admirer of his tunes from you know, Boys Don't Cry, and I remember I said to him when I eventually met him that I remember buying their singles album in HMV in Manchester, standing on the beach staring at the sea. Yeah, when I say to people like The Cure, they're like, you like The Cure? And I was like, yeah, we don't. It's because you like the music, you don't have to fucking wear lipstick. Do you know what I mean? But I've subsequently met him. He's a very funny man. Yeah. Yeah, he's great. He's very funny on email too, actually.
Or is it one of it because he sends all his emails in caps, doesn't he? Like?
He sends all his emails in shouty capitals, and when I got the first one, I was like, oh wow, because I didn't have my glasses at the time. Because I mean, sorry to break your heart there, girls, but I have to wear glasses. I thought it was telling me fuck off. Do you know what I mean? Because I could just see shouty capitals, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't realise he was that vehemently against the idea. And then kind of put them on. Oh no, he's into it.
And you're joining us today, taking a break from rehearsals. Tour's coming up.
Yeah.
Big summer shows.
Yeah.
Judging by something you said on stage at Glastonbury last year, I was just wondering how much do you battle with how much Oasis you should put in this set, but also do you think a high-flying Birds fan like loves the challenge of getting a lot of new music from you?
Well, let's put it this way. The bigger the gigs, the more likelihood there is to be a higher percentage of... I mean, you want everybody to have a good night, right?
Yeah.
And what I struggled with in the past was trying to fit old songs from the 90s in between a load of new stuff. And it all started to sound quite disjointed. So I came up with the genius idea of splitting the set into 2 parts. And then it does get difficult because in the beginning, I would do songs that I didn't sing, which I shouldn't have done. I would do songs that Liam sang, and I don't know what the fuck I was thinking of doing. But now I think I'm comfortable enough to just do the set I'm doing now. It's when it gets to the Oasis bit, which is like 8 or 9 songs at the end. I was looking at it today and it's like, it's one single and all B-sides. But they're all fucking great, you know what I mean? They're all really great songs and really famous songs. And they're all B-sides. So, I mean, I think people know what to expect now. It's actually getting more tricky the first half of it because my first couple of solo records, which are quite, let's say, traditional sounding. Then there was Who Built the Moon and the EP stuff, which is fucking far out. And then there's this one, which is a kind of combination of them all. So it's been a bit difficult getting the set to flow, but you don't really understand it until you've done 6 or 7 gigs. So you have to rehearse a load of fucking music, then pick a thing what you start with, and then it's never what you end up with ever. So the first few people who come to the shows in America will be guinea pigs, I'm afraid. So I apologise for the disjointedness of it all, but there you go.
And is it surreal that by the time of the UK Europe gigs, you're going to be on the road the same time as Blur and Pulp doing their reunion rounds? Did you see that coming?
No, I don't know. Well, I didn't know that. But good luck to them. I mean, Blur never split up, did they? They never split up.
No, they came and went. But
they never. Yeah, Pulp never split up. They just kind of went off and did other things, which was the adult way of doing it.
Yeah.
Sadly, my fucking band were very far from adult about it. It's a bit more crash and burn.
You never get any offers in for like a Britpop package tour, do a cruise or something?
I mean, inevitably it will happen, But I don't. Well, there's never really been one serious offer about, the big O, as some people like to call it, getting back together. But, there you go.
Well, you don't even have to do anything now, because I don't know if you've seen the AI-generated Oasis album that came out a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, these fucking idiots have got clearly too much time on their hand and too much money that they can afford the technology to fucking piss around doing that and like for a laugh. Like, but yeah, well, I mean, you know, I'm saving up for the technology myself, and then I'm just gonna fucking dial it into some computer and fucking sit there and churn it out when I'm 73. I'll have 140 albums to go after I'm dead. Keep my fucking kids in chalk ices and fucking weed. People are sending me things all the time. Oh, Ringo Starr singing She's Electric. And I'm like, there's not enough hours in the day. I mean, do we need Freddie Mercury singing Don't Look Back in Anger? Does anybody give a shit? I mean, yeah, but it's interesting, isn't it? It's like, to who the fuck is it interesting to? You know, and the whole AI thing, it's like, you know.
I think we're all doomed, personally.
Well, you are.
Yeah.
I'm not.
You're all right.
You know, it's like, fucking hell. Oasis, the lost tapes, like they were claiming it as like, you're like, really? Is that what you think it sound like? Fucking hell, you know, you can AI the singer's voice and his tambourine playing. I'm afraid you can't AI what I do.
Yeah.
You know, and as soon as you fucking can, I'm finished, I'm done, I'm retiring.
Yeah.
I'll just stick it into a fucking algorithm.
Plug it in. Get one of those ABBA holograms to...
Mate, it's the fucking future and the past all at the same time.
Well, we can say a lot about the bands that you inspired to pick up a guitar in the first time around. I was just wondering if you hear a lot these days, contemporary bands, however many of them are left, where you hear your own influence on them.
In the terms of musical notes, no, but I wouldn't expect to. But in the terms of spirit, yeah, Kasabian had the same spirit as Oasis. When we first met them, it was like meeting your younger sister's crazy boyfriends. Not that I have a younger sister, but... and recognise something in that, although they, in the spirit, and Tom and Serge were like, they reminded us of us. Yeah, no, well, I went to see Young Fathers recently at the Roundhouse. Fucking blew me away, man. Honestly, it's like T-Rex meets, and I kid you not, it's like T-Rex meets Frank Sidebottom.
That sounds
right?
amazing.
and that is a huge compliment, Callum Easter. It was like being a young lad again. Turned up, I mean, I love Young Fathers, and kind of turned up early, me and Jeff Wotton from Gorillaz, actually. We went out, it's like, well, we went down early, and this guy comes on, I'd never heard of him, and he starts playing these tunes, and it's like he's got this fucking keyboard thing, and I was like, who the fuck's this guy? And I was asking people at the bar, who's this guy? And everyone's like, oh, I don't know. But yeah, in the case of Young Fathers, no, it couldn't be musically any further from Oasis, but the vibe in the gig was fucking insane. I guess that is the same when you go and see bands and the reaction that they'll get from an audience where it's just like a sea of people and it's fucking great and it's all young kids. You know, Oasis's influence, I think, was for people to fucking start a band. Do you know what I mean? It was to start a band in the first place. So I do meet loads of guys, you know, who are, we're in a band and it's fucking great, you know, great. There's a lot of them around. It's a pity guitar music has become a bit marginalised these days. You know, you've either got to be like rock, you know, or like, you know, that fucking, at the Brits, didn't the 1975 win the best rock fucking band or some shit. It's like, I mean, I was watching it with my kids, two teenage lads, just, I'm thinking, is it me being a grumpy old man, or is this shit? And they were both going, oh no, this is fucking shit. The 1975 best rock band, it's just like, okay, someone needs to redefine that. Do you know what I mean? Someone needs to redefine it immediately. Yeah. You know, because that is, I don't know what that is. Yeah. But like, it's certainly not fucking rock. Yeah. You know, whatever rock is, that's not it.
I do rate that band.
Do you?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Mind you, I've got dreadful shoes on, so it's not surprising.
No, fair enough. And just to end on, Noel, I mean, you talked about how Council Skies was about you asking, how did we get here and how did I get here? As in you, not me. I know how I got here. Did you find any answers?
No, I think the last line of think of a number. although it should be the first track on the album, I think the last line of it is perfect for an ending of an album, which is, it's like a let's drink to the future. I hope it comes round again. Did I find any answers? No, but I will. No, I will find them though. You know, I'm not. I don't think it's all doom and gloom. Although the world is a shit place now, and England in general is a fucking. I mean, what has happened to this country? I've not. Well, I have an idea. Brexit happened. Fucking. You know, a lot of people fell under some kind of mass hypnosis. But yeah, it's shit England now. And it was going downhill for a bit, but actually, fuck all works.
So the truth will come.
Eventually, I will find the answer, the answers to all these questions. The answers are: look, the world is a great place. It's just inhabited by cunts, and it's the internet's fault. That's just the way it is.
Amen.
Amen, indeed.
Noel, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Nice one, mate.
Cheers.
Thank you.